Hello, ladies and germs. Just wanted to pop on here, do a quick little commentary, actually, on this. I thought this was very interesting. Being that I'm a drum homer, I was really curious just to take the emotion out of this journalist, his opinion of the White Stripes, and he obviously felt that Meg White was subpar, and his opinion was the White Stripes could have been much better with a much better drummer. Okay, I guess he's since apologized after a large backlash. There was a lot of people that really, stuck up for Meg, but I never saw anybody really stick up for Meg in the non-emotional point, like actually looking at the work and kind of peeling back the layers a little bit to see how Jack would maybe work with another drummer with White that would be in the White Stripes. I know he's gone on to do solo stuff and the Raconteurs and all kinds of stuff like that. But this particular project, the White Stripes, how would it sound with more of a pocket feel drummer playing, a traditional pocket feel? What I mean by that is my three favorite pocket drummers of all time, and I don't know if a lot of people know this either, Jack is a hell of a drummer, and he does most of his drum work on all of his albums. He's a great pocket drummer. A lot of people don't know that. The guy is just a really good musician. My three favorites, Clyde Stubblefield, one of the best. His work with James Brown was awesome. Phil Rudd, AC/DC, baby. And the great Steve Ferrone. Tom Petty. I think of him, I think of Tom Petty. Stan Lynch is good. I love Stan Lynch in Tom Petty, but Steve Ferrone, this guy has an incredible pocket. And so those were my three, what I consider great pocket drummers. I guess you could throw Jack in there. He would be considered a pocket drummer. Is he one of my favorites? It's kind of hard to top these guys. These guys got such a record that give Jack another 20, 30 years, he might be up there. But anyway, I digress. So I thought to myself, okay, let's remove the emotional part. Let's do a little experiment. Let's take a drum loop, same loop, both of them are the same loop, but we're going to have one be very regimented, very Meg-like in its sound, the same loop with the same hits, but more of a feel pattern to it, meaning a little bit more of a swing to it. The hi-hat opens up a little bit more. It's got more of a feel, what maybe the writer would assume would sound better in, the White Stripes in his mind. So I'm just going to play these two, okay? I do have the click on so you can hear that, all right? So here it is. First one would be Meg. This one would be not Meg. And no, I didn't say nutmeg. I said not Meg. Here we go. Okay, so small differences, but the first one, very angular, almost robotic in its sense, almost like it's been quantized to the 64th note, perfect. Every hit is perfect, and it's got to have this and this. The second one's got a little bit more of a feel, a little bit more of a relaxed, laid back kind of feeling to it. Hi-hats opened a little bit more, kind of more of a comfortable feeling in the traditional sense of maybe a pocket drummer, what you would define as a pocket drummer. But this video is in defense of Meg White, and there is a case for Meg White, and I'm going to argue that right now because I don't think she's getting a fair shake on what she actually brought to the band. What she brought to the band was brought to you by Jack White. She was the vehicle that allowed that to happen. And here's my argument on that, okay? So I basically took a riff, kind of like a White Stripes riff, All right? And we're just going to play that 3 or 4 times. The first drummer in red again is Meg. This would be not Meg. It's got the same beats, just this one has a little bit more of a pocket, relaxed feel to it. And then I'm going to play that riff to both of them. We're going to do it 3 or 4 times, and we're going to talk about it after, okay? All right. Okay, I'll tell you what I felt. I felt on the Meg loop, I felt a sense of urgency. I felt that you could hear the riff a little bit more because there was more space. You could hear the upstrokes. You could hear me scratching the strings a little bit more. It gave the riff more oomph. With the not Meg one, I felt the hi-hat and the laid-back feel kind of masked the coolness and abstract attack of that riff, okay? You can hear all of that. You've got this push and pull there. And when you've got the drums going boom, chuck, boom, chuck, boom, chuck, there's all that space in between that gives the guitar player, allows that riff. You can play around with it a little bit, you know, those upstrokes, those string hits, you know. It's not the it's got the feel, that bounce. So when you're attacking like that, I want, as a riff writer, that space to have that riff be the center of attention. With the second loop that was played by the not Meg, to me, it took away from the coolness of this riff. Just slightly. I mean, it didn't kill it, but it changed it. So my argument is, and I present the evidence to you, the public, that there is a case to be made that without Meg, the White Stripes would not be what they are today or what they were. And hopefully showing you that through this method, you know, removing the noise, get away from the noise, get away from the opinions, the writers, all of that. Just break down the song, break down the music, and you'll just see how vital and important she was. A lot of times, guys, in bands, you know, there's always that person that you kind of scratch your head and go, what does that guy do? What does that person do? Is that person really good? Are they not that great? What do they actually do? Are they that important to the band? And then you come to find out that, like, they're the main, you know, engine that pushes it. They maybe have the vision. They maybe have the way that they play the instrument is very unorthodox, and because so, it gives the others in the band inspiration. They feel a spark when they work with that person. Obviously, Jack felt a spark when he worked with Meg and made that music together because of the space they gave each other. They stayed in their own lane and they allowed each other to have their own expression, which, when you put the two together, gave us the White Stripes. So that's my argument. I rest my case for today. But I think without Meg White, Jack White wouldn't be who he is today. That's just my opinion, but I've laid out the evidence here. and I'm sticking to it. All right, guys. Hasta la vista, baby.